Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Rip roaring, let's go! Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Soccer in 60. I'm your host, Tim Kolotz. And just like in the first half of the U.S. game, somebody got a red card this week, and we have a new co-host for the week. Hey! We're going to get after it pretty good. We've got a great show for you lined up today. We've got some news and analysis on the LA Galaxy. We got LAFC update and their absolute thrashing of San Jose. We're going to Nita's going to bring us up to date as to what's going on with Angel City as well as LAFC. And then we are going to have a new star of Orange County Soccer Club come on with us today, Bryce Jamison. He's going to join us this afternoon. And then we're going to talk a little Euro footy and a little Copa America footy. Nina Kiefer, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Tim. As you alluded, Christian of Philly Philomen, the regular host of Soccer in 60 with you. We had to give him a yellow, unauthorized substitution, plus that second yellow for dissent. He's out of here for a game. We gotta sub in some referee power here. I am also a referee joining Tim today on the broadcast. Thank you for being with us on 1490 AM, 98.1 FM in much of the Inland Empire. Also, KMET app, or www.kmet1490am.com, Empire Strykers, Instagram and YouTube. What's up, Empire? Thank you for having me. We are on demand. We are live. We're doing all the things. I'm so happy to be here with you today, Tim.
Nina, it's awesome to have you. And, since you are the referee, another referee, it's the referee takeover week. It's going to be fun.
Don't be alarmed. It's not a bad thing. I promise the analysis will be good. We're only going to get a few calls that you disagree with, but we're going to take it back to production and VAR, and they'll send out a correction.
Exactly. And the crowd will be too loud, so you won't be able to hear what we're saying anyways.
And like we say, it's all in the opinion of the referee. Nothing else matters.
Absolutely. We had a very clear conversation about that a couple of weeks ago. Oh, man. And by the way, hey, we're on all the podcast platforms. You can get after us on there, wherever you get your podcast. Catch us there. We're typically on within an hour of the show ending. So if you miss any of the interviews, we're going to be good to go. But let's get after it. Let's get right into LA Galaxy. We had talked about this in detail last week, Philly and I did, and we were talking about how RSL was just on an absolute heater. Playing in Sandy, Utah, they don't lose very much. Anywhere in the MLS is tough to play, and especially in Sandy, which is a beautiful area, but it's also at 4,550 feet of elevation. So, coming from the friendly confines of Dignity Health Sports Park, that's at about 200 feet of elevation. Going up to Utah is quite a bit difference. But, Ricky Pooch was still out. He didn't play in this game. He's still nursing that groin injury that he's had for a few weeks. Coach Greg Vanny does say that he was back at training this week, so we should be able to get to see him this coming weekend. But the Galaxy have used a 4-2-3-1 setup the past couple of times, and that's really been a benefit without Pooch in the lineup. And it was matched by RSL. And one of the key guys that we had talked about last week is Golden Boot leader Chicho Arango, and how we were gonna have to the Galaxy was gonna have to really clamp down on him. Well, it didn't take long, because in the 19th minute, he and Martin Caceres, they collided heads so badly that Chicho needed 20 stitches to patch up his eyebrow, and Martin was right behind him with about 18. They both got subbed off in the 20th minute, and I mean, that's one way to take care of the Golden Boot leader, who's got 16 goals on the season. Unfortunately,
Absolutely. That's a
yeah,
crazy injury. And, we talk about concussion protocol and things like that, and how when we go head to head, but this was gnarly. This was bone and blood and gross. And Philly's wife is a nurse. She could probably get into this more than I could. But my goodness, when I saw that, I was like, all right, not a bad trade off. Like, Neil comes in,
yep,
this goes
yep.
out. It's not awful. It's like kind of a like for like there, but you can't replace Arango. Arango is so good. And when the Galaxy did that, it changed the
Yep.
momentum of the whole game.
Yeah, and you take out a guy like Martin, who is a big, tall boy, 6'2", $180. But when you have a guy like Jalen Neal who comes in, he's about 6'3", $185. You know what? It's pretty good. Pretty good trade-off. And then the goal, and the only goal, was just stellar. This was just a piece of beauty, with possession on the right side. Edwin Cirillo makes a great pinpoint pass to Dejan Joveljic, and he one-times it to an on-rushing Gabriel Peck. And Peck just rifles a bullet in the 77th minute past RSL goalkeeper Zach McMath. And it was really, really fun to see that play, that whole run of play up until the couple of minutes before. The Galaxy were really controlling possession, and then just to see the back and forth between Peck and Joveljic and Cirillo was just really, really fun to watch along that right-hand side.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, when I look at the final stats for this game and I see, RSL ending with 15 shots and Galaxy ending with 8, and that's without Chicho Arango. How much of that, Tim, do you think we look at shots versus shots on target and how that is playing out here?
I really look at the shots on target, because the shots, while they may be wide, you're seeing a lot of block shots by the defense. And that's one of the things that the Galaxy have really picked up the pace on. And that's been very, very encouraging, especially when over the past couple of games, we have seen a few lower scoring games. And like case in point, this one with only 1-0. If you're blocking a whole lot of shots, you're blocking 6, 7, 8 shots a game, the defense is really doing their work. And with John McCarthy only needing 4 saves to get his second clean sheet in a row, it makes a big difference, when you don't have to have Johnny Mack working his tail off on the back end.
Yeah, I still have a very fond place in my heart for him. If you haven't picked up by my Instagram handle, for those of you joining us on the live stream, and by my background, I am an LAFC fan, but I like J-Mac Daddy. J-Mac Daddy's got a big place in my heart. But
yeah, I mean, you put that type of goalkeeper. I mean, he was just fantastic. He was great for LFC. He's really, really come over to the Galaxy and really has taken control of the post. Keeping all the balls out, and he did have to make a couple of really nice saves. But when you are getting shots that are straight on, it's far easier to make those shots than when you're dealing with crosses and they're on headers and things like that. But when the ball's basically in front of you, John McCarthy is not going to miss too many of those shots.
Yeah. And before you go into the upcoming game, like just one other point of analysis here, as you mentioned, like the onslaught of shots, we saw only 6 corners for RSL and 3 corners for Galaxy. And that just goes back to the fact that, they're not as accurate in these situations. We're able to block and clear a lot of things without it going over the line. So it's not even like dirty blocks or anything that's really monumentous within this match. But I think you've made a lot of really good points, Tim, about how the play style is evolving with Galaxy. And, these two teams sitting there at the top of the table in the West, and we'll get to that a little bit more later, I think, too.
Yeah, exactly. And what I like about the lineup that they're using, this 4-2-3-1, is that you do have those 2 guys that are playing that short midfield, right? They're able to track back a lot easier and have 6 guys in the box a lot easier than when you're playing a 4-3-3, because you'll get that wing back who'll want to go up. So let's get into the upcoming weekend. This is going to be a big week. We've got the California Classico. We've got it at Stanford Stadium against San Jose, which is, it's a nice big venue. Let's get the Galaxy fans to take a road trip up for this weekend. But what's interesting is after the thrashing last weekend that San Jose took, on Monday, San Jose has had a little bit of a coaching change, and they fired their coach on Monday. So, head coach Luchi Gonzalez got relieved of duties, as they like to call it now, instead of shown the door. But assistant coach Ian Russell is going to take over, and Ian Russell is a solid assistant coach. He's no slouch. So the biggest thing is what's gonna happen with San Jose, do you think? Are they going to come out and they're going to play super highly motivated? Or are they going to be exactly what their record is at a very dismal 3-14-2?
Mm-hmm. So, I was super off with my last guest. It was Angel City versus Bay FC, and I got that one totally wrong. So I'm going to go again, but I'm going to go the opposite way, and maybe I'll get this one right. I'm thinking you're going to see some low scoring. Unfortunately, you can't underestimate travel, especially travel to a high climate. And then with this recent change with San Jose, I think we're going to see a relatively defensive game in my mind. But, I've been wrong recently about Bay. For Bay and I do not get along, and I think that is the Los Angeles coming out in me. I'm just anti-NorCal or something.
Well, these things are going to happen, and with the Galaxy coming in, they are coming into this game sitting third in the West at 10-3-7. So they're ready to get after it. They're going to be coming in and really wanting to play hard. As they always do. But, going up to Stanford, that's not an easy place to play. I mean, you're traveling, and just to get to Stanford from the airport, it's kind of a zoo. It's up in the hills,
Would even call that travel? Like, it's travel light. It's travel adjacent. I think the biggest thing looking at this is San Jose's goal differential in the season is -22. So right. I will say, as an LAFC fan, if I do not see Galaxy pull some goals out on this, I'm going to be severely disappointed in them. They should be going in there and trashing it. Now, that said, my prediction is still going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, and like we had last week, with Arango with leading the league with 16 goals. You got Christian Espinoza that's on San Jose, so they're with 13 goals. And so their record doesn't indicate how good a season that he and Jeremy Abobase are having, because Abobase is right behind him at 10. So you're looking at really strong players on San Jose. But after you get past those guys, next highest goal scorer, 3. And so, like you say, there could be low scoring, at least on the San Jose side, because if Galaxy keep playing like they do on the defensive side, I think that Peck and Paintsil and Jovelich, and you put in Miguel Berry, you get a couple of these other guys, it's going to be a really, really strong game, I believe, for the Galaxy. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the other side of the earth on you, and I'm going to say that LA is going to go in there and beat them by at least 2 or 3 goals.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, as we talk about San Jose and going up to the Bay, one of the names that always comes to mind is Wondolowski. Forever player with the San Jose Earthquakes, goal scorer extraordinaire. And I think that's also a great transition point for us as we move into LAFC. We've talked about RSL and Galaxy. LAFC second place, or also top of that table, actually leading the table by goal differential. Thank you very much. And with a game in hand. But as I talk about Wondolowski, he was one of the top goal scorers in the MLS. And recently with LAFC's game, we're approaching, we're getting there. So let's break down this LAFC game a little bit, if you will bear with me, Tim. LAFC actually went for a club record for goals in a game and extended its club record unbeaten streak to 10 games across all competitions with their 6-2 victory over the San Jose Earthquakes at BMO Stadium on Saturday night. So we tired them down for you. If Galaxy can go up there and they can do their thing, it's because we tired them down for you. We broke them down, but hopefully they learned a little something for us. And what I am referring to now as a boss move, 5 different players from LAFC actually contributed to this scoreline, which also ties a club record. pushing the black and gold into a 3-way tie with RSL and LA Galaxy for first place in the Western Conference. LAFC was able to control a lot of the game. They led in the 15th minute thanks to Bogusz, who actually was able to head home across to give us that 1-0 lead to start off the match. Then just a few minutes later, the lead goes to 2-0. Ryan Hollingshead actually slides in a pass forward to Denny Bouanga, who hits a left-footed shot past their goalkeeper, Jacob Jackson. And in the 33rd minute, this is the moment I was referring to. Kai Kamara earning space all-time MLS scoring list with the 146th goal of his MLS career. Holy cow, Tim, you're wearing the USA jersey. What are your thoughts with that?
Seeing him get that goal and then just immediately celebrating with his teammates instead of going off and sliding off all on his own, I think that says something a lot about him as a professional, that he knows that he did not get to 146 by himself, and to celebrate with his family. Basically, LAFC brought him in for a specific reason, and it's been really, really fantastic. To see him come in, get a couple of markers already, and then this past weekend was just brilliant. Super fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. And breaking down that momentous goal, Bogusz actually got the free on the left wing and whips across into the box for Kamara, who rose above the San Jose defense and powers a header home from close range. And that took the score to 3-0, which is even before halftime. So if you were caught in that LA traffic and you weren't there on time, you missed a lot of fun footy. LAFC was able to extend the lead 4-0 in the 46th minute when Hollingshead beat Jackson with a deflected shot for his first of the 2024 season, but San Jose pulls back a goal in the first half stoppage, and we went into the half 4-1. It was just such an exciting first half, so many goals, and I promised I wouldn't break down every single one, but I'm trying to give some quick highlights for you. As we went into the second half, Bogusz got his second of the game in the 48th minute. And then Earthquakes were able to lead with a header, bringing the score to 5-2. The score would stay that way until the 87th minute when substitute Thomas Angel scored LAFC's sixth goal to tie a club record with goals scored in a single game. That goal was assisted by subs Eric Dueñas and Nathan Ordaz, both from LAFC too. And I want to tell you, I've got a nickname for Nathan Ordaz, and I want everyone who's listening to be watching this young man. We've been watching Eric Dueñas for a while. He's homegrown. He is born and raised LA. He is fantastic. But Nathan, let me tell you, Nathan Ordaz, he's hot sauce.
Gotta be a player.
That's what I call him. I call him hot sauce. You watch that boy on the pitch, and I say boy because he's so much younger than me, and I want to still call myself young. So it's my effort to make sure that I feel young inside. He's hot sauce. He's spicy. He goes in and he chirps, but like subtle chirps. Like, I don't know. You got to keep your eye on him. Not enough to ever get a yellow. He just chirps and makes sure that you know he's there. He makes his presence known on the field, and I love it. Final score of the game was 6-2. Fantastic game, really exciting for everyone who was in attendance, and a great way for them to be going into, the next week. And with our additional games, we're going to be back home this Saturday hosting Colorado Rapids at BMO. That game is going to be super exciting. I think, LAFC now sitting top of the table on technicalities, we'll say, because
hey, top of the table, Nina. Come on.
Okay, I'm trying not to be too biased here. I'm trying.
Yeah, it's not working. You gotta work a little hard there, sunshine.
Point taken. Point taken.
Hey, you know what? If they're top of the table, they're top of the table. I mean, whether it's by goal differential, by its fewer yellow cards, or whether it's just because you got some better looking
point
players.
Toss,
hey, these things happen.
Still counts.
Yep.
It all counts. Where you had to break a tie in like ASO for coin toss as a referee. I had to do it once, and it broke my heart.
Oh, it's
for a
just
little 10-year-old.
Yeah. No.
You never want to be in that situation. But looking ahead to Colorado, as I mentioned, LAFC sitting in first. Colorado 4th. So right behind. Like, this is top tier. This is not a team to sleep on. We know they're traveling here, and we know it's always harder to pick up points on the road. But when we look at this head to head and the season so far, looking at goals per match, both teams 2 goals per match, both teams with just over a goal conceded. So am I looking at a tie here, Tim? Am I looking at like a 2-2? Like, that's my unfortunate gut here.
Well, maybe, but to date, Black and Gold own a 6-win, 4-loss, 1-draw record against the Rapids across all competitions. And you know what? Their last matchup on the 30th was the Rapids came behind twice to steal all 3 points, 3-2. So we're looking at, 5 goals in the game. Are we looking at 4 or 5 more? I'm thinking we are looking at 4 or 5 more. I think that Colorado has got a couple of really strong strikers. They can put the ball in the net. They are sitting in 4th in the table. And while the LAFC is at the top of the table and they are playing phenomenal soccer, LAFC's at home too. So, you're going to get the 3-2, 5-2 behind that team and you're going to be there. I can guarantee you that. So you're going to be screaming your fool head off, which is going to be great. And I think that it's going to be, I think it's going to be a 2-goal differential. I'm not seeing a 2-2 tie. I'm seeing LAFC come out and really put the wood to these guys, improve and break that tie at the top of the table.
Okay, even knowing that they've got Galaxy just a few short days later for that 4th of July game?
I think they're going to try and get in the head of Galaxy and say, we belong at the top, not you. I really do. I think they're going to go into that Galaxy game. I don't think LAFC is looking past it. And I don't think the Galaxy are looking past their opponent this weekend either. I think that the Galaxy are going to go up and beat San Jose. I think LAFC is going to take care of business at Colorado. And you're going to see a 1v2, 1v3 top of the table matchup on the 4th of July at the Rose Bowl Stadium, which you still can get a couple of tickets for, which is blowing me away that you can still get a couple of tickets for that. So, but we're moving a little too far ahead. But you know what? This is a Greater LA show, so who cares? We're getting after it, and I'm the host, and nobody's yelling at me yet on the chat about it. So, but
there you go.
I do think that LAFC will take care of Colorado this weekend because they are at BMO.
Yeah, I love that. That's music to my ears. Now, Tim, just throwing some random Colorado stats at you. Let's react to this. Colorado awarded the most penalties this season with 9. Are we excited, nervous? Like, do we think this plays into the referee's mindset? Like, what are the conversations you have with defenders when you hear that?
So I would hope that it's not getting into the referee's head. I think it is, being referees, we're being impartial every chance that we get. But I know that it is a talking point, especially in the pregame and this past week in training. They are talking about that Colorado, whether they're doing a little Greg Louganis. For those that you don't know, Greg Louganis was a gold medal Olympic swimmer and diver in the 1980s. So, look him up. He's an amazing athlete. But, if they're doing a little bit of diving, maybe they're just better at it than the rest of the league with their 9 things. But, there have been a couple of really high quality tackles on them that they've earned those penalties. But hopefully LAFC doesn't earn any of those for Colorado this weekend.
Yeah, the last thing we want is to see a penalty and a red card, especially going into that 4th of July matchup. That would not do well for the LAFC defense. So I think that's going to be my key to the game. LAFC needs to lock it down in the bottom third. They need to play clean. They need to play tight. And they need to get in front of shots. That's going to be the key to success here and the key to keeping it out of a tie and taking it Tim's way. Tim's way all the way.
Perfect. All right. Hey, before we move into the MASL and the Empire Strykers, thanks for joining us during the second half of the USA-Panama game. Quick update. It is currently 1-1. The United States did take a red card in about the 17th minute on a clear striking foul. And then Bologun has put the U.S. up 1-0, even with that 10-man situation. But Panama has come back to tie it at 1-1. And with that, let's talk about the Major Arena Soccer League here just for a minute. We do talk about the Strykers, the EmpireStrykers.com, Strykers with a Y, STRYKERS.com. They are gearing up for their season. There's been a lot of community service that they've been doing. Garrett Blum, who was a guest on the show just a couple of weeks ago, was coaching one of their mini camps this week, and they have a great deal on season tickets right now. So hop on the website, theempirestrykers.com, and you can get tickets for some great deals. And when there are extra perks, so if you're in the upper bowl, you get a complimentary customized Empire Strykers jersey. And the Strykers jerseys
bowl is like my favorite place to sit at that stadium. You get such a cool view. I'm sorry, I'm all about the upper bowl there.
Exactly. And I hearken it back. I grew up watching hockey, and we had season tickets to a couple of local hockey teams. And I love sitting on the upper bowl too, because you see the play develop. It's that referee mindset that we have, right?
Oh yeah.
And the Empire Strykers, they play right here in Ontario, right at the Toyota Arena. And it's a beautiful venue. We were just there a couple of weeks ago for the Game of Legends. We sat down low. It was great. People were in the upper bowl. They were going crazy. It's a beautiful arena. If you have not been to the Toyota Arena here in Ontario, it's right off the 10 freeway, right off of Haven. You can actually see it from the freeway when you're stuck there in traffic. Just look north, and there it is. Beautiful inside. They've got a whole slew of different food vendors, and then the action on the field is amazing. We have Marco Fabian, who was a guest just about a month ago on the show. He's coming back for his second season, and he's last year's Golden Boot winner. 35 goals. It was amazing. And again, the Strykers are putting on a bunch of mini camps. You've got several of the teams, of the players coming out, doing things with the team, doing things with the kids. Check that out. There's still a couple of more mini camps that your son or daughter can come out and play and learn the game of soccer from some of the best professional soccer players around. So come out, support the local team. You're gonna have a really fun time with some of these mini camps. Trying to look for some of the specific times and dates, but they are on the websites.
Definitely many locations there to choose from. Sign yourself up, sign your children up. The youth camps open to kids ages 6 to 17. Really exciting way to work on your touch, to work on everything. They've got camps starting 6/24 through 6/27 is already over, but 6/28 through 7/26, that's through July 26th, or July 8th through July 11th, July 15th through July 18th. All over. You've got some in Rancho Cucamonga. You've got the AYSO Upland. Lots of fun opportunities there. Just go on over to the Strykers website. As Tim mentioned, that's Strykers with a Y, Empire Strykers. You can get your season tickets. You can get your camp registration, all the things you could possibly need to enjoy your summer and set yourself up for a winter of success and fun. But what do you think, Tim? Should we talk about Angel City now?
Yeah, let's get after Angel City a little bit. Let's talk about how they did this past weekend.
Yeah, Angel City has been giving me a little world of disappointment lately, and I'll get into that in a minute. But one of the interesting things, you had mentioned the fact that San Jose was parting ways with their coach and how that could go one of two ways. Interesting news happening in the NWSL arena, as Bay FC also in their first season have already parted ways with their coach after this match that Angel City actually lost to them in. So Bay FC choosing, because of where they're standing on the table and how they're looking for the season, to fire their coach mid first season. And then other really, really shocking news coming to us from the NWSL world was the fact that Casey Stoney who has actually been the head coach of San Diego Wave and led them to their epic first and second season. Now that they're in their third season and they're just sitting mid-table, Casey Stoney also out the door. So it begs to question, with Angel City sitting mid-table, are we going to see a change? I think not. I think they're still fully investing in Becky Tweed, and part of that is Tweed doesn't have the players she needs right now. And
Right.
Tim, what are you thinking about this roster? I mean, Kristen Press for the first time traveling to an away game with the team just recently, and that's after 2 years away.
Right.
And she's up.
Right. I think Kristen Press, she got her back. They got her back into training just a week or so ago with the team. She's been rehabbing, as you said, for the last 2 years with that devastating injury. I think with the amount of, injuries that they have had, Sarah Gordon missed time, Kristen Press, June Endo hasn't played, she blew out her knee just in training camp. I think with the focus on, like, even some of our guests that we've had on, Kennedy Fuller, Madison Curry, some of the players, I mean, you're talking about a team that, you take away Sydney LaRue, you take away Sarah Gordon, you take away Kristen Press. This team's averaging like 20 years old, it seems like. You got 3 or 4
100%.
teenagers on it. Madison Curry, who has really come into her own right away, is only 22. I mean, she's only been playing professional since March. I mean, this is a big deal. So to see them kind of make a change at coaching, I would be hard pressed to have them do that because of what they're really doing. They moved 3 different people that were key components of their team last year. Early in the season for monetary reasons. And there's no other reason to say it. I mean, it's call a spade, right? They did it for monetary reasons so they could free up some roster space. But I would be very hard pressed to see the Angel City make that move at coaching. You've got Bay FC, who's making a big giant splash. You have the Wave, who just sold, right, for a league record $68 million.
Yeah.
I think the new ownership is really kind of going to push that. And I think the ownership of Angel City is maybe looking at it a little differently, hopefully, than some of the other teams.
Tim, you bring up a really good point there, because I want to remember now that Angel City actually is going to market for an additional owner, and you don't make major changes when you go to market to bring in a new owner. That's the time you sit tight, you sit pretty, and you wait. The only thing you do is maybe bring in another big signing. You want to elevate your status and not get rid of anything. But let's talk about this game. Unfortunately, Angel City does fall 0-1 on the road to Bay FC in their 3rd game of the week. This has been a packed schedule for Angel City. Bay's goal was actually scored by midfielder Tess Bodie. And, the player from Angel City that stood out to me the most was Le'Bion. Le'Bion was out on the pitch making a lot of chances. And we've talked about Angel City previously and how creative their midfield needs to be. And I think that comes back to there's a lot of gaps sometimes with the injuries they've had between the forwards and the defense. So having that creative, strong midfield becomes equally and even more important. And Le'Bion had a fantastic game creating chances and making opportunities there. We talk about the youth of this team. We call them Sid and the kids. Sid and the kids are up top. Sid and the kids. So, and it's hilarious, but true. They've got the veteran Sydney LaRue up top, making it happen, trying to show these young talents how it's done and how to hold it together. And then also, you've got this young talent pushing forward. You've got the Thompson sisters, Madison Curry, like you said, as well as Kennedy Fuller. So really exciting game, but unfortunately unable to take home any points from being on that little road trip up. The only real good thing tonight is with that start, Didi Harachich, who's been in goal for us. She actually became the first Angel City player to reach 50 career starts and appearances for the club. Huge milestone. Didi has definitely been the wall. She's been the backbone of the back line. And I can't underestimate what an impact that she has had on everything. But let's talk about that goal. And it was after keeping Angel City under persistent pressure for much of the half that Bay was able to break through in the 33rd minute when midfielder Tess Bodie got on the end of defender Emily Megnez Low one touch.
Finally, somebody else screwed up the name besides me. That one's for you, Philly.
There it is. Oh, but she's able to actually direct that over the goal line. It's a technical, great goal. It's one of those things that's just unfortunate. It was a well-fought game, and all we can do is look ahead, and that's what Angel City needs to be doing more than ever, because when we look ahead, we are going against Orlando Pride. And for those of you who have not been following the women's teams and the women's games, Orlando Pride on a fantastic unbeaten streak. They have won 9 games, drawn 5, lost 0. None. The table in the NWSL right now is absolutely insane. The fact that the top teams in this league are continuing to do all of this, and we got to brace ourselves, because that's going to be a hard team to take down. I am not ready for the stress that is what amounts to, in my mind, the entire Brazilian women's national team playing for Orlando Pride. That's what it really is. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. When you have that many from one country, much less one team, the chemistry is just beyond. I mean, you look at some of the things, like you compare them to like Inter Miami, right, of the MLS. You look at those guys that have played together for 10 years, the chemistry is going to be immediate. So the same thing with Orlando, you put that into perspective. You've had these players playing together with, not just a year, not just a couple of years. We're talking 4, 6, 8 years that these guys have been playing together. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but me and Philly have gotten pretty good chemistry in 6 months, and you and I have got pretty good chemistry in a day. Could you imagine if we'd been doing this for 8 years, what we'd be doing? We'd be completing each other's
sentences. There we go. We got it. We got it down already, Tim. Yeah, looking ahead, Angel City sitting in 10th, Orlando Pride sitting in 2nd. Angel City just not doing as great. We are conceding more goals than we are scoring, but Orlando Pride, they're scoring up to 2 goals a game and not even conceding 1. They've got 6 clean sheets to our 3. This is terrifying going into this. So we need to give it our all. This is a fantastic team, and we really just need to make sure that we are prepared, that we are strong, and that our defense is solid. And, all I can think is I'm really glad MA is getting back and forth. Sarah Gordon looking really good. Those are my 2 girls back there. So we can walk this down. Giselle also looking clean on the back line. And I kind of anticipate them pulling Spencer back a little. We know Jasmine Spencer for Angel City has been playing defense a lot, but she is naturally a forward. She is definitely like the Crystal Dunn of Angel City, if you will. And she's going to play whatever position is needed. So we got to see a lot of substitutions in this game. That's what I'm going to say. I think this is a game of the subs. It's who's going to stay strong, stay in form, and stay in line. This is going to be one of positioning and one of really figuring out your timing on the runs and making sure that you're covering, because Orlando Pride is going to take advantage of any opportunity we give them. I also anticipate a couple dozen fouls.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing about 5 or 6 yellow cards as well in this game.
This is going to be a game for the referees. Let us see what they are.
The ARs are going to be have to be pretty active in this one. The assistant referees on the sides are going to have to be part of this party too, because with the speed that the teams are moving, and you're going to get those technical fouls at the midway stripe, you're going to have to be very much on your game, both the center referee and the ARs. I don't see VAR coming into this thing too much, but I do see the ARs being a much more communicative with the center referee than most of the time that they are.
No, that I think you're absolutely spot on with that. And I love the idea of no VAR because it doesn't tend to go the way of Angel City. So even better if they are not present in this, because they don't do what I want them to do.
Exactly. Let's get after our other local team here in the greater Los Angeles area, Orange County. We talked about this at length last week. They went into Indianapolis, and it was an amazing game.
How
But
many
before,
times did Christian sing about Indiana then? Because
oh, well,
Billy being an IU grad, I can't imagine he let you get through it without at least one fight song.
yes, we did not. So with talking about Orange County, let's talk to our guest today. Our guest today is one of the most exciting young players in the USL Championship. After signing professionally with Orange County Soccer Club at just 16. 16? Holy smokes. He is still very much a teenager and has no doubt attracted the attention of scouts from all over, as he's currently tied for second on the team with goals, having scored a goal per every 211 minutes on average. He is also a former member of the Atlanta United Academy and a current U.S. Youth International who represented his country at the U17 World Cup in Indonesia back in December. We're proud to have with us today Orange County Soccer Club forward Bryce Jamison. Bryce, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. So we kind of have to talk about the big news this week with Coach Carlson heading back to his homeland in Denmark. How do you see that affecting the team and the players, and just been what's going on with the team this week?
It was a big surprise when we all found out on Monday. It caught everybody by surprise for sure. Everybody definitely was not the happiest about it, because we really enjoyed him as a coach and just as a person, and he really helped us out a lot last year when he came in, and this year we've just been struggling with a lot of injuries, so it's been hard for us getting results. But it's gonna be hard without him. But he set a good foundation for us, and we're just gonna try and keep emulating that into our play, and just getting better.
Yeah, we had talked with Coach, or I had talked with Coach before the season started, and he's got a good crew of assistant coaches with Coach Paul coming in, Hardiman coming in. How do you think that Coach Paul is going to keep bringing you guys along the rest of this season?
I think that we're going to get along very well with Coach Paul, and mostly because they both had the same kind of views. They never really bumped heads. And Paul, we already have had meetings with Paul, the whole team, and we've talked about the plan moving forward and how we're not going to change much, and we're just going to keep trying and pushing and just fighting for results.
Perfect. So you're 18 now, which, it's kind of weird being a professional soccer player for a couple of years now at just 18. Just a few weeks ago, you scored a brace and graduated high school. Can you, just a couple of days apart, right? Can you talk us through that week and just how nutty that really was?
It was pretty crazy, to be honest, because I graduated and I met a bunch of people during my graduation that are my age, and they were on online school as well for their own reasons. But meeting them, learning about what they actually did and why they did it, and them telling them what I did, they were just like, wow, like, no way.
Yeah, definitely impressive, Bryce. You are setting records. Congratulations on your graduation, and of course, everything else that you're going through. So let's talk about not just your age, but the history that you're making. Golden Boot in the USL Academy League Finals, fastest hat trick in Academy League Finals history, and youngest goal scorer ever for OCSC. Do you have a favorite memory so far in your soccer career?
Honestly, I have a bunch of great memories. Helping the team out always is something that is always in my mind, and that forever will be in my mind, because it's one of my best feelings when I contribute to the team, and goals, assists, or anything. So there's a lot of things.
Yeah. I love that about you, team player. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and with you being a team player, tell us, the team has dealt with a few lineup changes due to injuries lately, but you guys bounced back over the weekend with that huge 1-0 win at Indy 11. What are your thoughts on that? How is the game going? What are you looking forward to at home against Oakland Roots on Saturday to hopefully make it 2 straight victories?
That game in Indy was everybody on the pitch just really put it out there. We knew we were struggling. We knew we didn't have the strongest bench with a bunch of people out, and we ended up losing more people during that game, which is extremely upsetting and not anything good at all, of course. But going into this next game, we are going in with the same game plan, that it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a battle. Not everything's going to go our way, but we all just have to work together as a team and fight and really just put it all out there 110%. So yeah, that's what we're going to try and do.
So you recently represented U17. We talked about it in your intro, the World Cup in Indonesia. You got playing time all 4 matches, which is, for somebody as young as you are, right? To see that type of playing time, it bites that you lost to Germany in agonizing fashion. But can you talk about that whole experience and just how awesome it must have been?
That experience was unreal, to be honest. A lot of people would be blessed to experience what I did, and I'm extremely grateful for all the people that helped me get there, my family, friends, team, all the people that supported me. But that experience was I had a blast. Being there, being in Indonesia, playing the games, just being around the team, and with all these people all from around the country and from other countries, talking to other teams after the game, maybe. It was crazy because I've never experienced anything like that. And doing that at such a young age, it's crazy.
It's got to be insane, right?
You're absolutely right. You've been getting a ton of attention, Bryce, and for good reason. You are playing very well. But with some of that attention, there's just also a lot of buzz on social media. And the club actually used you as its poster boy for a recent ticket sales push. How does it feel being in the spotlight?
Yeah, I seen the ticket. I saw the ticket sales post, and I was just like, "That's wow!" Wow.
Are you framing it? Are we putting it up on the wall?
We might have to. It was pretty cool. It was actually really nice.
Oh, I'm sure there's more of that to come in your career. As you look forward, I asked you briefly about, if you had a favorite memory. Do you have a particular goal? Like, what can we expect? I mean, I expect the world from you, but what's on your hit list? Do you have a year or future goal for yourself?
Right now, my main goal is continuing to develop and eventually move on from Orange County and move to Europe to play soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So you following the Euros?
Yeah. That pathway to Europe is a big push for Orange County Soccer Club. You've seen it with other players. You guys competed against a couple of players that were on Orange County just a couple of years ago. Took them, when they won the championship just 2 years ago, and a couple of players from that team did in fact go to Europe and play. And it seems like Orange County has really got that dialed in. Do they talk about that somewhat frequently with you guys?
Yeah, for sure. With young kids coming in, they definitely show that plan of players that they had prior to that point and what they really did to develop those players and eventually get them to their goal, which was also going to Europe.
Yeah, and then when you get a player like Ethan Zubak that also has been on the show, and he's been playing great since he was on, by the way. For him to come back to Orange County, you can see that experience, somebody that's played MLS and then is now playing with you. Does that give you a even bigger hope that you're going to be able to play in Europe?
Yeah, for sure. Seeing people around me that have already been there and been there and done that, it helps me because they're around there helping me develop and get better and pushing me to be better and eventually get to the level that they once were at.
Awesome. Bryce, hey, you know what? We appreciate you taking the time out, taking 10, 15 minutes out of your afternoon, come out and hang out with us at Soccer in 60. Best of luck this weekend. Best of luck the rest of the season. Let's get after it, man. I can't wait to see you over playing in Europe before too soon.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Bryce is just great.
What
Good,
a great kid.
smart, unbelievably smart kid.
Absolutely. And it just takes me back, like how much effort is not just put into developing these players as players, but also as humans lately, you know, between him finishing high school and getting like all the training he's getting and all the support in terms of moving and development off the pitch. It's just absolutely incredible to watch. But, you know, Tim, I refreshed on the other page. And before we get into anything else, we've got a Copa America update. I don't know if you've seen, but
Yes, we
USA
do.
is needing some attention. We need some love here.
We are.
help.
They are now down 2-1, and finally they're even on players. It looks like Panama has taken a red card now too in the 88th minute. You know, I'd say that guy's name, but I'd butcher it. So we'll just leave it alone and say that.
Oh, come on, we got to go
also...
one for one. You got to give it a shot. No.
All right, I'll give it. Adalberto Carrasquilla. How's that for you?
I thought that was pretty good. I think you did it.
All right. So Panama is leading the U.S. 2-1. This is going to, if the result holds, it will tie Panama and the United States with 3 points apiece. The U.S. was really hoping to put Panama away, but they got put behind the eight ball early with how shall we say, a couple of calls that the home crowd disagreed with, you know, and there's a certain chant that they may or may not have been speaking, but you know, this is a family show, so but you know, but let's get after, you know, other things in Copa America. You know, U.S. is. They're looking for a big, deep run. Let's talk about the Euros for a minute, too. You know, we are into the round of 16 this weekend with the Euros. What are we looking for in the Euros, which has been called even harder than the World Cup to win?
Yeah, I mean, I got to go to a game with or a watch with Chiellini the other day, and watching him celebrate and seeing him cheer on Italy was super exciting. But I think this is quite the competitive match, and we'll go back to Copa America. But when we look at these knockout rounds now for the Euros, this is going to be some fantastic soccer. You know, I'm heavily watching that top or left-hand side of the table, you know, between Spain, Germany, Denmark, Portugal, France, Belgium, like all of these teams. It's going to be hard to get all the way to that final. And, you know, there's some teams then on the other side that I'm really expecting them to show up and turn out. So we'll see here. It's going to be an exciting match. I love when we get some good footy on TV. You know, we focus most of the show on what's happening in and around Los Angeles, but there is a lot of good footy out there in the Euros.
Yeah, you know, and I was watching the England game, and they laid an egg the other day with their 1-1, and then, you know, and seeing how some of the teams will get really hyped up for a game. Like watching the Georgia-Portugal game yesterday was amazing because they needed that game. Mm-hmm. And while Portugal tried to play really hard, Georgia's just had them beat. And to give up a goal 2 seconds in, or not even give up a goal, but for Georgia to come down and just rifle one in 2 minutes into the game, you know, it puts Portugal on their heels, and they ended up losing that game 2-0 to, you know, what they call the 84th ranked team in the country. But if you make the Euros, man, you're one of the top 30. I don't care what they say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely difficult. And, you know, it's funny to draw comparisons between the Euros and Copa America because in my mind, they're very different playing styles. I think Euros are a little more like chess. Copa America is a little more dirty, a little more rugged. Both are fantastic playing styles, but you can't really compare the two. It's like Italian soccer is parking the bus. Sorry, Italians.
Hey, Pulisic had his best season ever in Italian. Come on.
They They are very defensive minded. And to quote one of my friends, Lauren Susselman, who played defense for Canada, defense wins games. There is no shame in that game. It's just not high scoring. And, us Americans, we really like our high scoring games. That's what draws people to indoor soccer and things like that. So when we look at Copa America, all these group stages are kind of shaken out. We've had a lot of local games. It's been super exciting, but also a little chaotic. A couple upsets coming here. But, USA still sitting in it, even with how it's currently turning out. And you can't be mad at that.
Right? You can't be mad at it. But USA has still got one more game to put in the, it is against Uruguay though. So that's going to be a little tougher match than this Panama game should have been. But, I think the tournament is going to be really, really good on both sides.
Yeah, it's pretty tough out there right now, and USA has had some struggles. We talked about earlier just, the chemistry that happens within teams. And I think US soccer in general has struggled to find their footing and to find their exact playing style and leadership and how they want to develop players. But, before we go, we hope you join us again next week. We think that this has been fun. I hope you do too. Don't give me a yellow card. Make sure you join us on 1490 AM, 98.1 FM in much of the Inland Empire. Search Soccer in 60 on all of the platforms for podcasts, Empire Strykers with a Y on YouTube, KMET app, or www.kmet1490.com. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Nina Kiefer, and it's been a pleasure hosting with you.
Nina, thanks for joining me today. And hey, no yellow cards for you. We'll get you in. We'll put the sign up, and we'll take Philly out, or we'll take me out, and we'll put you in with no problem. The referees have got to take over every now and then. Nina,
every once in a while.
Right? Nina, it has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Soccer in 60. We'll see you again soon.